Good Thursday, friends. Welcome to another edition of Southern Sports Focus. Today, we're doing our Thursday feature of 5 games, 5 questions. I pick a game, 5 of them. I have a question for each game in the world of college football. And this will be some questions that maybe could decide the outcome. So let's get started, shall we? Question number 1. Is there a glimmer of hope for DJ Lagway in Florida's offense? Now, I took a little more big picture kind of thought on this with Billy Napier and the offense as a whole in a short video I posted earlier today, so I do hope that you check that out. It's called Will Billy Napier Ever Get a Clue? But specifically, we're going to look at DJ Lagway a little bit on this question and a little bit further, but focusing on Lagway first. It was painful to watch, plain and simple. 5 interceptions. I mean, what else can we say about it? And now the Gators head to Miami to face the Hurricanes. DJ Lagway has an opportunity to change the narrative if he has a great performance and somehow lead his team to the upset win. Florida does have the defense to keep them in the game, and the Gators, despite their struggles, there's some things that could provide some hope. You have a team that is 6th in the nation in time of possession. There are guys like Jaden Baugh. If they get him more involved in the running game and they can run effectively, that will help Lagway out a lot. So the formula is there for Florida to turn this around. But the penalties, the mental errors, and facing an opponent with an experienced quarterback, their own offensive playmakers, and a strong defense, it will take an effort that we've yet to see from the Gators to pull this one off on the road. Oh, and another thing, maybe don't worry about trying to psych out your opponent before the game and get one of your assistant coaches suspended. In other words, for Florida to win this game, the first step is to just be smarter. Question number 2. Who can use their knowledge of their opponent to their advantage in Norman? Possibly the most interesting and potentially best game in the SEC this week is Auburn at Oklahoma. 2 coaches that entered the season a bit on the hot seat. They are now off to 3-0 starts. 2 teams that are starting to get a little buzz in the early playoff conversation. And of course, we have the storyline of Auburn quarterback Jackson Arnold returning to face his former team in Norman. He knows the Sooners, they know him. Can Arnold and the Tiger offense be effective in their formula of running back Jeremiah Cobb and Arnold leading what's been a great rushing attack so far? Or will Brent Venables and his staff be able to contain his former quarterback and force him to beat them with his arm? Arnold is completing nearly 70% of his passes, but the Tigers are 11th in the SEC in yards per game. You have to think this team, in order to win, has to find more plays for wideouts like Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton Jr. to get that victory on the road. Question number 3. Will shaky defense lead to an upset in Oxford? In 2024, Ole Miss had one of the best defenses in the country. 2nd in points allowed, 3rd in sacks, 1st in tackles for loss. In short, they were aggressive, they were nasty, and they were a problem. This season, not so much. So far in 2025, they're giving up more than a touchdown per game more than they did last season, and they are 15th in the SEC in total defense. Yes, the Rebels are 3-0, but they've had close calls 2 weeks in a row versus Kentucky and Arkansas. This week, they go out of conference hosting Tulane, who might be the best team in the group of 5. The Green Wave, they've had their own struggles defensively, giving up over 20 points per game, themselves over 370 yards per game. Last week versus Duke, they allowed 452 total yards, with 313 of that through the air. We know the Rebels will try to go hyperspeed on offense, but the Green Wave will attempt to be more deliberate. And if the Rebels cannot make those stops, especially on 3rd down, Lane Kiffin's opportunities might be few. This could be a dangerous one for Ole Miss, especially if John Summerall's team can set the tempo. Our next question, does a season hang in the balance in Columbia? The ugliest loss in the SEC last week, South Carolina getting drubbed at home by Vanderbilt 31-7. Now, of course, Lenore Sellers going down, leaving the game with a concussion was a factor, but 4 turnovers, 3 yards per carry on the ground, 8 penalties. The whole performance was just bad, and it put a huge dent in the preseason hype machine of Shane Beamer's team being a threat to make the playoff. This week, it doesn't get any easier as they hit the road to face Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz's team is 3-0, but it's been a relatively easy path. 2 wins versus Central Arkansas and Louisiana. Plus, while the win versus Kansas was a big one in the renewal of the great rivalry, the Jayhawks defense very suspect. So despite their struggles talent-wise, South Carolina is still the best team the Tigers have faced so far. The biggest question, of course, Lenore Sellers. The Gamecock quarterback has reportedly practiced this week, giving some hope he could go. But on the official availability report, he's listed as questionable. Concussions are a tricky thing, so even if Sellers can go, you have to think the offensive game plan will be altered and it will be limited, meaning limited exposure for Sellers. That could take out a big part of his game running the ball. A loss this Saturday will make South Carolina 2-2, and with games at Ole Miss, at LSU, at Texas A&M, plus home dates back-to-back versus Oklahoma and Alabama, and with how pedestrian this team on offense has looked so far, a playoff berth chance is all but gone, and bowl eligibility might even be a struggle. Our final question, could we see a conference tone-setting game early in Salt Lake City? It appears again this year that the Big 12 will be one of the most interesting conference races, and Saturday, two teams that appear to be in the thick of that race face off in a ranked versus ranked matchup as Utah hosts Texas Tech. The Red Raiders have lit up the scoreboard so far, leading the nation at 58 points per game. But that's been against Arkansas Pine Bluff, Kent State, and an Oregon State team that is 0-3. On the other side, the Utes have brought dominant defensive performances as they've only allowed 8.3 points per game. However, that's been while facing UCLA, who's also 0-3, Cal Poly, and Wyoming. So how good is Texas Tech's offense? How good is Utah's defense? We might actually get a bit of a clue of that this Saturday. And the winner of this one gets a big early boost in the Big 12 title picture. So those are my 5 games, 5 questions this week. Let me know your questions. Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe to Southern Sports Focus, and all of you, have a great day.